perfectionist unwilling to tolerate mediocrity. Critics viewed her as unnecessarily harsh and difficult. Either way, her reputation as a formidable force followed her throughout her career. Marlene Dietrich represented a different kind of Hollywood mystery. Sophisticated, glamorous, and endlessly fascinating, she cultivated an image unlike anyone else in the industry. Her influence extended far beyond film, shaping fashion, culture, and ideas about celebrity itself. Dietrich's romantic life became the subject of endless fascination. Numerous biographies describe complicated relationships, emotional entanglements, and friendships that ended badly. Some former companions spoke fondly of her brilliance and magnetism. Others described experiences marked by heartbreak and disappointment. Because many stories emerged decades later, separating fact from myth remains difficult. Nevertheless, Dietrich's reputation as a woman capable of captivating and sometimes devastating those around her became a lasting part of her legend. Kirk Douglas stands among Hollywood's most celebrated leading men. His performances in films such as Spartacus helped define an era, and he was often praised for his determination and resilience. Yet over the years, allegations and rumors regarding his treatment of women surfaced in biographies, memoirs, and media discussions. Some claims were never formally investigated or proven. Others remain subject to fierce debate among historians and fans. The challenge with figures like Douglas lies in balancing undeniable professional achievements with accusations that continue to generate controversy. For many observers, the discussion reflects a broader question facing Hollywood. How should society evaluate artistic accomplishments when troubling allegations become part of the story? Gloria Swanson's career illustrates another aspect of fame's darker side. As one of the defining stars of silent cinema, she enjoyed extraordinary success and influence. Her lavish lifestyle and strong personality became legendary. Critics often accused her of extravagance and self-indulgence, particularly during difficult economic times. Production disputes, creative conflicts, and reports of demanding behavior followed her throughout much of her career. Yet Swanson also demonstrated remarkable resilience, most famously through her acclaimed comeback in Sunset Boulevard. Ironically, her portrayal of fading star trapped by memories of past glory echoed themes that many associate with Hollywood itself. Sal Mineo's story differs significantly from the others. Known for his role in Rebel Without a Cause, Mineo became one of the most promising young actors of his generation. Unlike many stars of his era, he faced the challenges of navigating fame while living in a period when discussions of sexuality remained heavily stigmatized. After his tragic murder in 1976, speculation and conspiracy theories emerged almost immediately. Questions about his personal life, relationships, and career struggles fueled years of rumors. Many of these claims remain unverified, and historians continue to separate documented facts from sensational speculation. What is undeniable is that Mineo's life and death became symbols of the pressures faced by performers who lived outside Hollywood's traditional expectations. Finally, Wallace Beery remains one of the most controversial names from Hollywood's golden age. During his career, Beery was celebrated for portraying tough but lovable characters. Audiences embraced his rugged screen persona, and studios considered him a major star. However, stories about his temper circulated widely. Former colleagues described intimidating behavior, while others accused him of mistreating co-workers and child actors. Some accounts connected him to one of Hollywood's enduring mysteries, the death of comedian Ted Healy in 1937. No definitive evidence ever established Beery's involvement, and the case remains surrounded by uncertainty. Yet the persistence of the rumors demonstrates how quickly legends can become entangled with suspicion. Taken together, these stories reveal something larger than any individual celebrity. They highlight the power structures that once dominated Hollywood. Studios invested enormous resources into protecting valuable stars, often controlling press coverage and shaping public perception. When allegations emerged, they were frequently minimized, ignored, or buried altogether. Journalists risked losing access. Employees feared losing jobs. Victims worried they would never work again. As a result, many stories remained hidden for years. Today, historians continue revisiting Hollywood's past with a more critical eye. Some claims have been confirmed through documentation and testimony. Others remain disputed or impossible to verify. In many cases, the truth likely exists somewhere between public mythology and private memory. What remains beyond debate is that Hollywood's golden age was never as simple as it appeared on screen. Hollywood has always sold a dream. For generations, audiences looked up to movie stars as larger-than-life figures whose glamour, talent, and charisma seemed almost magical. Their faces appeared on magazine covers, their names lit up marquees, and their lives are portrayed as symbols of success and perfection. Yet behind the bright lights and red carpets, another reality often existed, one far more complicated than the public ever saw. Throughout Hollywood's history, countless stories have emerged about powerful stars whose private behavior stood in stark contrast to their carefully crafted public images. Some accounts were documented by family members, colleagues, or journalists. Others remained rumors whispered behind studio doors for decades. Together, they reveal how fame could sometimes shield troubling conduct from scrutiny. Among the names frequently discussed in these conversations are some of the biggest legends of Hollywood's golden age. One of the most controversial figures remains Joan Crawford. To moviegoers, Crawford was the embodiment of elegance and determination. Her Academy Award-winning performance in Mildred Pierce cemented her place among Hollywood's elite. However, years after her death, her adopted daughter Christina Crawford published Mommy Dearest, a memoir that portrayed a childhood marked by fear, emotional abuse, and harsh discipline. The book shocked the public. Christina described punishments, humiliation, and a home environment far different from the loving image Hollywood magazines had promoted. While some family members disputed aspects of the memoir, the book became one of the most talked-about celebrity exposés ever published. It raised uncomfortable questions about how much of a star's public image was carefully constructed, and how little outsiders sometimes knew about what happened behind closed doors. Another beloved entertainer whose legacy became increasingly debated was Bing Crosby. To millions, Crosby represented warmth, family values, and holiday cheer. His recording of White Christmas remains one of the most famous songs in history. Yet several of Crosby's children later spoke publicly about growing up under strict and sometimes harsh discipline. His son Gary Crosby described a household governed by fear and punishment. These revelations complicated the public's understanding of a man long celebrated as America's ideal father figure. Supporters argue that Crosby's parenting reflected the standards of a different era. Critics countered that the accounts revealed something much darker. Regardless of where opinions fell, the contrast between public perception and private testimony became impossible to ignore. Then there was Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star whose adventures on screen made him one of Hollywood's greatest icons. Flynn's charm and charisma attracted fans worldwide, but his personal life generated controversy throughout his career. In 1942, Flynn faced criminal charges involving underage girls. He was ultimately acquitted, but the case attracted enormous media attention and damaged his reputation. Even after the verdict, stories about wild parties, excessive drinking, and questionable behavior continued to circulate. Historians still debate how much was rumor, how much was exaggeration, and how much reflected genuine misconduct. What remains clear is that Flynn's off-screen reputation became nearly as famous as the heroic characters he portrayed on screen. Mickey Rooney provides another example of a Hollywood legend whose personal life often overshadowed his accomplishments. During the 1930s and 1940s, Rooney was among the biggest stars in America. Audiences adored him, and studios relied on his popularity. However, numerous colleagues described a volatile personality behind the scenes. Rooney's many marriages, financial troubles, and conflict became regular tabloid material. Over time, stories emerged suggesting that his behavior toward women and younger performers was often troubling. Some accounts remain disputed, while others come from first-hand recollections shared years later. Whatever the full truth may be, Rooney's legacy demonstrates how public affection for a reformer can coexist with deeply conflicting accounts from those who knew them personally. Another Hollywood giant whose reputation extended beyond her performances was Bette Davis. Widely considered one of the greatest actresses in film history, Davis earned admiration for her fierce intelligence and uncompromising approach to acting. Yet that same intensity frequently led to conflict. Her legendary feud with Joan Crawford became one of Hollywood's most famous rivalries. Stories from film sets describe heated arguments, personal attacks, and professional sabotage between the two stars. Many colleagues respected Davis's talent while also acknowledging her intimidating presence. Admirers viewed her as a